Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Again, this is Mr. Traham at Teach Me Mr. T. I'm coming at you with a lesson on teaching you an easy way to think about multiplying a number times 10 and multiplying the same number times 100, right? Most people know the short code, or if it's multiplying times 10, you just write the number with a zero behind it. And if it's multiplying times 100, you just write the number with two zeros behind it, right? But I'm going to go into detail into why that general rule is true, so you'll understand what exactly you're doing when you're multiplying times 10 and times 100, right? Basically, the value of each spot in that number needs to increase by 10 or by 100, depending on if you're doing it times 10 or times 100, right? So what Mr. Traham's going to do is I'm going to multiply the same number times 10 and times 100, 546. This will be times 10, and over here I'm going to do 546 times 100. All right, the first thing you need to do is you need to remember that each value in this number 546 needs to be increased by a multiple of 10, right? So an easy way that I do it is I put it in expanded notation times 10, right? So here I would break up 546 into 546, right? And then what I would do is multiply each one of those values times 10. So 500 times 10, 40 times 10, and 6 times 10. And once I do all of these times 10 and put the number back together, you will see the entire number as a multiple times 10, right? So 500 times 10. Well, 5 times 1 is 5, and I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. That's 5,000. Makes sense? 500 times 10 will be 5,000, right? Plus 40 times 10. Or 4 times 1 is 4, and I have 2 zeros. That's 400, which makes sense that 40 times 10 would be 400, right? Now here, I do 6 times 10. Well, 6 times 1 is 6, and then I do 1 zero. 6 times 10 is 60, right? Now from here, I say 5,000 plus 400 plus 60. That's 5,460. And if I go back to my original saying, 546 times 10 should be 546 with a zero behind it, 1 0, because it's times 10, right? But this is why each value needs to increase by 10 on the number 546. Good. Now, if we move over here, we're going to do the same number, but times 100 to see the rule that any number times 100 is that number with 2 zeros behind it, right? So I'm going to do same thing I did over here. I'm going to expand the number, right? I'm going to separate it, right? And I'm going to do a notation of times 100 for each spot, right? So this will be 500 times 100. This will be 40. Oh, there's a plus sign in the middle. This will be 40 times 100. And plus, this will be 6 times 100. All right, I've separated 546 into 540 and 6, and then I've multiplied all of them times 100. All right, I've increased the value of each spot by 100. Now here, 500 times 100, well, 5 times 1 is 5. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. That's 50,000. Plus 4 times 1 is 4, and I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. That's 4,000. Plus I have 6 times 1 is 6, and then I have 2 zeros. All right, so this is 50,000 plus 4,000 is 54,000 plus 600 is 54,600. It makes sense because that's 546 with 2 zeros, like I said earlier. This is an explanation of why the general rule is anything times 10 is that number with a 0 behind it, and anything times 100 is that number with 2 zeros behind it. This is why the value of each spot needs to increase either times 10 or times 100. This is Mr. Traham explaining the simple multiplication, anything times 10 or anything times 100. Peace.